Ekam akharam hridhi nirantaram bhavati swayam likhyate patam. Hridaya kuhara madhye kevalam Atmarupe bhati Hridi vishamanasa svam chivata vajjata chalinuro atmanishto Deham brahmaya jada makam aham buddharnatasyastu aham tat tatadhat shakti samaye siddhatma sattva amayuta kuto radhiya drushta manishta manam so spurtitaya aruna chala shiva vibha swayam so spurtitaya aruna chala shiva vibha swayam. With Bhagavan's immense grace, we have been meditating on the verses of Vivekachoodamani. We are in the body of the text. We are beginning. We find a lot of coherence between the Sanskrit work and the Tamil translation of Bhikshu Swamigal of Tirudai Mardur, which Bhagavan's commentary is printed side by side with the Bhikshu Swamigal's verses. We find that Bhikshu Swamigal has covered the whole text. There are a few more verses in the Tamil version, because wherever 4-line verses are there in the Acharya's work, Bhikshu Swamigal has used 2 verses. So there are many 4-line verses instead of 2-line Sanskrit verses in Vivekachoodamani. Wherever 4-line verses are there, Bhikshu Swamigal has used 2 4-line Tamil verses to cover the 4 lines there. Therefore, the Tamil work is a bit longer, 670 instead of 581. But then we find verse for verse a simplified translation, not selective translation. In simple Tamil, Bhikshu Swamigal has translated, and Bhagavan's summary covers the Bhikshu Swamigal's version, almost word for word, but is in Urainade, is in prose form, and it is much, much easier to follow Bhagavan's prose version, and it covers without any gap the original Sanskrit. It is not a selection, it is not even the Sara. None of the main points have been left out. Each verse has been covered. So the mode we have been adopting is keep Bhagavan's prose as the basis, but not lose touch with the Sanskrit original as well as the Tamil translation of Bhikshu Swamigal. So we will always be referring to how many verses in the Sanskrit we are covering. Generally, it would be very nice if we can cover about 20 verses in each session, at least 10. So 10 to 20 verses we should be covering in each session. We have covered a little bit, about 6-7 verses we have covered in the first segment, but we will be briefly looking back on them and try to go up to the first 20 verses in Sanskrit. We saw that the Acharya says that it is rare indeed to get a human birth. He first codifies the general path of finding the self of all, finding the Brahman. Generally, without these qualifications, that is, human birth, male, Brahmin, scholarship in Vedas, and Viveka of the Atma Anatma, then comes the direct experience of the self and abiding in the Brahmajnana, which is a result of many janmas of punya, is the opening of the work. But then we saw in our discussion that out of that, if we can pick one quality which would make us eligible, which Bhagavan bestows on us, is the Atma Anatma Viveka, on which his Atma Vichara, the entire teachings is based on. That Viveka we found is just the preceding step to the direct experience of the self of all. So we decided to take that is the gift Bhagavan has given us. It doesn't matter in which kula we are born, whether we are male or female, whether, because in male and female we feel the bodily male and female is one thing. In the enquiry nature, the courage of enquiry, the compassion, these are all qualities which are available to both. Bodily, there may be a male, but in the spiritual quality, in the enquiry quality, he may be a different kind of persona. So what we took it from the first opening part is that if we have, by Bhagavan's grace, come upon the Viveka of the Atma Satyam and Anatma is the Mithya, hold on to that. Hold on to that, keep it as the key aspect that we have gained from many janmas. And then we go along with the Acharya that even if this gradation, even if this gradual progress towards the self-realization is not there, the Acharya says if you have three things, the three things are the human birth, Manushyatva, Mumukshutva, finding the constraints of the conditioned life, seeks liberation, one seeks the freedom as the only real happiness. That there was a TV congregation where 3,000 people were there in the congregation, and the person who was speaking was addressing them like this, that how many of you are happy now? And almost all 3,000 of them, they lifted their hand that they are happy at that moment. And then he said, suppose I say that I am going to provide you with food for all 10 days, the next 10 days to come. But the doors of this congregation hall are going to be shut for the next 10 days. Now, how many of you feel happy? Not a single hand went up. So he pointed out, don't you see, that essentially any kind of constraint is unhappiness. And the mukti, the liberation from all constraints, is the real happiness. So the mumukshutvam and Mahapurusha Samshrayam. The Samshrayam, the word we found, is that we find meaning and purpose in that great Mahapurusha's teachings. How Mahabali Chakravarti was placed under the feet of Vamana. Are we willing to follow the Guru's words? Absolutely. You find a Persian poet say that the Guru cannot do anything wrong. Once you take Bhagavan as the Guru, follow the teachings totally. Whatever the Guru may do, it is for the welfare of all, the Persian poet says. This should be the attitude. Mahapurusha Shamshrayam, to come under the teachings of the Guru totally. What more blessing can be there than to receive Bhagavan's teachings in this human birth? That gratefulness, that thankfulness. Once these three are there, that is enough. You don't need to worry, the Acharya says, that you can start sadhana under Vivekachoodamani. The gradation to mukti, now you forget it. In the human birth, the subclassification, forget it. Whether you have scholarly understanding and mastery over the Vedas, forget it. You take the teachings under Vivekachoodamani. If you have Manushyatvam, born as Manushya, human birth, you have Mumukshutvam, sincerely seeking truth, the liberation, and you are completely understanding the incredible good fortune you have got in coming upon the teachings of Bhagavan and want to practice it sincerely. These three are there. The Acharya says good enough. That then you can start working with this teachings in this work. Somehow, by the Ishvara's grace, excuse me, somehow we have come upon these three. Suppose having got these three, having got human birth, having got the mumukshutva, and having come upon Bhagavan's teaching, suppose you don't do sadhana, suppose you don't make further efforts, let it be there anyway, I can come back to it and do when I please. When that attitude is there, that is equal to committing suicide, says the Acharya. We found that that was a very tough way of saying do the sadhana properly. That's all. Nothing to take it literally. But that has to be taken as a very positive intent, that a firm push by the Acharya that once you have got these three, suppose you miss out, suppose you miss the bus, that's really bad on your part. That you have been blessed by great things. With great power comes great responsibility. That great power means all these three are present, means the entire creation is with you. The entire creation of which we are a part, it has given you the Chudamani, it has given you the Kritam, that the crown jewel of all spiritual works has been given to you. Manushyatvam has been given to you. Mumukshutvam has been given to you. And the best of the teachings from the Acharya has been given to us. Suppose we don't make effort from here, that is really bad. That is, to put it mildly, not very great intelligence. The Acharya uses the opposite word, Mudatvam, he says, but we say that we have, it's not a very wise thing to shirk effort at this time. Now, this has become just grab it with both hands and start doing sadhana. Everything is going to be laid out in front of you threadbare. There is nothing in creation that will not be understood by the one who follows the teachings in Vivekachoodamani. That's why it is called Chudamani. It is the crest jewel of all spiritual teachings. All the secrets, all the things that is to be known will be absolutely revealed, and then one will be abiding in the self, abiding in the Brahma Tattvam, provided one makes sincere efforts. Now, in making the sincere efforts, what should be the direction? சாஸ்திரங்கள் படித்தலாலும் தேவ பூஜை பண்ணினாலும் கர்மங்கள் அனுஷ்டித்தாலும் தேவதைகள் உபாசித்தாலும் இன்னும் என்ன செய்தாலும் பிரம்மாத்மைக்கிய ஞானத்தால் அன்றி எத்தனை கோடி கல்பங்களாயினும் முக்தி சித்தியாது. This is what Bhagavan summarizes from the Sanskrit verses that succeed as to, if you don't put in effort, how stupid it is. From that verse, the next verse is that where should our efforts lie? Where should our efforts be directed? How much our reading of further Shastras? Suppose you have the liking for reading more and more works. The Acharya is saying, reading this book is enough. This book is going to give you the essence of all the books. And what is the essence of all the Shastras? Bhagavan summarizes it in one sentence. He says that எல்லா சாஸ்திரங்களும் மனதை சாந்தமாய் வைத்துக் கொள்வதற்கே. All the Shastras, they teach only the quietening of the mind. Once you understand that, there is no point in reading Shastras endlessly, he says. You have to directly go to the sadhana of quietening the mind. So, just doing the reading, memorizing and recollecting and presenting of Shastras in various ways is not going to be good enough. The worship of various devatas for various purposes and the only way in which we are going to get is the oneness of the Brahman and the Atman. Brahmatma Aikyatva. This is the essence of all the Vedantas. In this one phrase, there is a talk by Sarvapriyananda ji on the YouTube, where he is analyzing all the various ways in which Brahma Sutras have been, and the Vedanta has been analyzed by the various teachers in various philosophies. However, there is only one essence behind all of Vedanta, and obviously that is what we have to catch. If you go for interpretations, there are about 7-8 different ways in which the same Brahma Sutras, the same Upanishads, the same Bhagavad Gita has been interpreted. Now, what is the essence of that the Acharya here is capturing for us is that all Vedanta is about the oneness of the self and the supreme, the self and the Brahman. Brahma Atma Aikyatvam. Aikyatvam means the identical nature of the self and the Brahman. That is the only teaching. That is the only thing we have to retain. Except by finding the Brahmatma Aikyatvam. By nothing else, even carried out for crores and crores of years, are we going to come to the truth of this crest jewel of spirituality. Now, தானத்தினால் மோட்ச ஆசையே இல்லை என்னும் ஸ்ருதி கர்மங்கள் மோட்ச காரணம் என்று நன்றாய் கூறியிருத்தலால் மோட்சத்தை அடைய இச்சிக்கும் தீரன் பாகிய விஷய சுகங்களை ஆசையை முற்றும் துறந்து மகாத்மாவாய் சாந்தராய் உள்ள சத்குருவை அடைந்து அவர் உபதேசித்த பொருளில் மனதை நிறுத்தி சந்ததம் எப்போதும் தியானிக்கும் யோகத்தால் அடைந்த அனுபவ ஞான நிஷ்டையாகும் கப்பலால் சம்சார சமுத்திரத்தை மூழ்கி கிடக்கும் தன்னைத்தான் தானே மோட்சமாகின்ற கரையின் மேல் ஏற்றிக்கொள்ள வேண்டும். That knowing this Brahma, Atma Aikyatvam, and knowing that by accumulating wealth or by doing various things which money can do, you should clearly understand that that is never having any connection with Brahma, Atma Aikyatvam. So what we should do, we should first find out some guru who is the expert in this Brahma Atma Aikyatvam and take the Upadesam from him, which we have all got. We have all got the Upadesam from Bhagwan. Then what we should do, whatever is the teaching, Manadai Nirti Santatam Dhyanikum Yogatta. What is the boat in which we have to transport ourselves to the truth? The boat in which we have to transport ourselves to the truth is whatever the Upadesham Bhagavan has given, the sadhana with which we are going to carry out that Upadesham, that is the boat. What is the sadhana? That is the tapas that Bhagavan has said in Upadesha Saram. He says, யானற்றியல்வது தேரின்னதுவது தானத்தவம் என்றான் உந்திப்பர தானாம் ரமணேஷன் உந்திப்பர. That out of all the penances, out of all the tapasya, of all the sadhanas, this who am I? What is the nature of this I? What is the nature of this self? Putting aside all non-self. That means having rooted yourself in the Atma Anatma Viveka, having firmly, strongly landed oneself with that Viveka, to hold the I to the exclusion of all the non-self and to find the Atma Swarupa, that is the Mahadidam Tapo. Out of all the penances that are ever there in all the scriptures, Bhagavan says this is the Mahadidam Tapo. Why? Why is Bhagavan saying like that? And that is the boat in which we are going to transport ourselves, knowing that otherwise we are caught up in the samsara, caught up in this world of seer scene, where we have been seeking solutions in the scene, taking that Upadesha of Bhagavan with the Atma Anatma Viveka, holding the Atma alone. That is the boat in which we are going to transport ourselves beyond the ocean of samsara onto the shores of mukti. Now, why is this Atma Anatma Viveka so important? That is something we have been meditating in one of our other satsangs. That why is this specific boat given to us by Bhagavan? That whenever the Anatma arises, ask, for whom is this? For me, who am I? Why has Bhagavan given that? There is another verse in Ulladu Narpadu which brings us to the substratic nature of the Atma Anatma Vivekam. The fundamental nature of Atma Anatma Vivekam. That verse says, இரட்டைகள் முப்புடிகள் என்றும் ஒன்று பற்றி இருப்பவா அவ் ஒன்றேதென்று கருத்தினுள் கண்டால் கடலும் அவை கண்டவரே உண்மை கண்டார் கலங்காரே காண். Now, the multiplicity of the world has been divided by the mind conveniently into many dyads. And the mind appears to think that the whole creation is permeated by those dyads. For instance, the dyad Bhagavan takes up in the beginning of the Who Am I book in the preamble is Sukam and Dukkam. Sakala Jeevargalum Sukam என்பது துக்கம் என்பதின்றி சுகமாயிருக்க எப்பொழுதும் விரும்புவதாலும் எப்பொழுதும் சுகமாயிருக்க விரும்புவதாலும் is the beginning. That means what is the dyad Bhagavan is taking? Sukam, Dukkam. So the whole creation is divided by the mind into Sukha and Dukkha. What is the dyad that we use in the Dharma Acharane? That which is right, that which is wrong. What is the dyad that converts the sukha and dukkha, the dharma acharane into desire, that is like and dislike. There are numerous dyads, opposites, into which the whole creation can be said to be divided as, and they can be seen as triads: seer, seeing, seen; knower, knowing, known. But Bhagavan says, இரட்டைகள் முப்புடிகள் என்றும் ஒன்று பற்றி இருப்பவாம். That means these dyads and triads are dependent on a root dyad called as Atma Anatma. They are all Anatma when considered juxtaposed to for whom are these dyads and triads. There is a root dyad on which all the other dyads and triads are fixed. That root dyad is Atma Anatma. Atma Anatma Viveka. Only after the ego arises, all the other dyads arises. We can take support from one more verse from Bhagavan. Vrittayastvaham vrittimashrita vrittayo mano vidyaham mana. Bhagavan would say in Upadesha Saram that the whole mind is made of vrittis, but all the vrittis are dependent on the aham vritti. Therefore, the entire mind can be said to be permeated by aham vritti. Similarly, all the dyads and triads can be said to be permeated by aham vritti, or could be said to be dependent on the moola irattai called aham and anatma. Atma, anatma, that is the irattai on which all the other irattais are dependent on. Once we understand this, then we catch hold that the Atma Vicharam is really the boat in which we are going to transport yourself. For instance, if you take the current scenario in the world, if you take the dyad of clarity and confusion, if you divide that the whole world is permeated by these two energies, one is clarity, another is confusion. Many of the countries seem to be caught up in these two modes between clarity of thinking and confusion. Now, what Bhagavan is saying, don't look for clarity or confusion in the world, because already you have divided into self and non-self. So to come to real clarity, beyond the duality of clarity and confusion, instead of analyzing who is clear, which leader is talking clearly, which leader is not talking clearly, instead of doing that, you ask, for whom is this duality of clarity and confusion? For me. So the whole area of clarity and confusion becomes anatma. Only the Atma Swarupa is there. So the whole area of the entire creation is permeated by the Atma Shakti alone. The Atma Shakti is not divided into dyad. The self-attentive self, the self-attentive, even in sadhana we can understand that we have now stopped dividing the world into two. We are now only having the self-attentive energy. Bhava Shunya Sadbhava Sustitihi. There is only one energy instead of the dyad. So we understand how important is having this Atma Anatma Vivekam. We don't need to look for solution in examining the world as richness and poverty, knowledge and ignorance. All the dyads which are objective are dependent on the subject-object dyad. So that is what, taking the Upadesham of the Guru as our very breath, we have to take that as the boat. The Atma Vicharam is the boat. Santatam, the practice should be constant. Why this constancy? The self-attention should become natural, should become sahajanishta. Till then, the Atma effort should be santatam, salipara, without any kind of feeling that why am I doing this? That kind of regret or that kind of negative energy. Completely leave that. Happily take up the sadhana given by the Guru. ஆதலால் தைரியசானியாகி உள்ள ஒருவன் தார புத்திர தனம் எனும் ஈசான்ய திரயத்தை நீக்கி கர்மங்கள் அனைத்தையும் தூரத்தள்ளி ஜனன மரண சம்சார பந்தம் நீங்கி மோட்சம் அடைவதற்கே பிரயத்னம் பண்ண வேண்டும். The Acharya's verse is more than 1,000 years old. It is said that when Rajiv Gandhi wanted to put some information on the Acharya, Shankaracharya's Jayanti, they were to publish it as 1,200 years ago in 800 AD. Then the Acharya from Shankar Mat, then Chandrasekhar Saraswati Swamigal from Kanchi Mat, he sends information to the government that it should be that Acharya was in 500 AD. That means 1,500 years ago. Based on the Mat head Acharya's information, the entire publications from there about the Shankaracharya's Bhagavad Pada's the birth celebrations were changed as how many ever years that 500 AD was before, it was changed for that. Does it really matter? Because the teachings are beyond time. The teachings are going to be forever. Till time is there, the Atma, Anatma, Vivekam will be applicable. Therefore, the other points which are given there, that which was 1,500 years ago, that only Atma Vicharam was taught to those who had taken sannyasa and come to the ashrama as a sannyasi. Therefore, the dropping of karma and the leaving of putra, the wife, and the dhanam is mentioned like that. Bhagavan's teachings today are taking up the same truth and saying the real renunciation is renunciation of the ego. What have they done? When some person would ask Bhagavan, should I not move away from these people who seems to be an obstruction for me? Bhagavan would say that the Ishanatrayam can also be crossed, but there is a further goal that is to be achieved by both the physical renunciate as well as the householder. That is the Tyaga of the Ahankar. Karuvam Ahandai Undayit Anaitum Undavum. Ahandai Indrel Indranaitum. Ahandaye Yavuma. Adalal Yaditendranadale Vovudal Yadamena Vok. The destruction of the ego, and due to the destruction of the Chidjada Granthi, all the worlds dropping away and the self alone becoming or revealing its reality, that is true renunciation. Why do you identify that you are a householder, or why do you identify that you are a sannyasi? Go ahead and do this, take this boat of Atma Vichara. Whether you are a sannyasi also, Atma Vichara is applicable. Whether you are a householder also, Atma Vichara is applicable. The work you have to do, your upadhis have to do, will go on according to the Ishvara's Ajna. But don't ask for Ishvara's Ajna to change regarding the upadhis. Only aim for one thing. Aim for the Mayaham. Aim for the true self of Ishvara. Don't worry about what the Ishvara's Ajna is regarding your upadhis. Is the instructions of Bhagavan in this preceding century. So, these instructions have to be taken as the times change, as the intellect changes. Will merely adorning some dress, like I am putting on white clothes, does it mean that I am having jnana today? Obviously not. None of the people who are listening to this will get carried away by merely my dress being white. Therefore, to the modern intellect, only the real renunciation of getting rid of the Chidjada Granthi alone is highlighted by Bhagavan. Don't take merely changing your dress. Bhagavan would laugh at Ramana Padananda, who would have gone to Kashmir. his original name I forget. And there some renunciate order would have given him Kavi Vastra. And he will come with the Kavi Vastra here. And Bhagavan will literally laugh at him. That, do you think merely changing the dress would change who you are? And he will immediately come and put the Kavi Vastra in Bhagavan's feet. And of course, he says he starts wearing the white dress. But then we have to take these verses like that, that there is a higher requirement of us now. It does not really matter where you are. There is no excuse that you are a householder that you don't need to do sadhana. You have to do Atma Ucharam, irrespective of whether the Dhanam, Taram, and the Putra are there or not. But then this is 1500 years ago that this verse is there, that you have to deliberately put them aside, and then the Guru will teach you regarding Atma Vichara. Now coming to why Guru is required, the analogy that we have had, that you have been passing by a particular image at the corner of the road as a youngster, you have always been afraid of that. That at that point you come with lot of temerity, you try to avoid that and somehow close your eyes and come. Then one of the days your friend sees you doing that, avoiding that particular corner of the road, which is so semi-dark that there seems to be something there very threatening. And you somehow close your eyes and cause with running, holding your breath, take quick steps and cross that area. Till one friend comes with you one day and says, puts the torch there and says, there is nothing there. There is only this arrangement of stones which you have been seeing as something, some spirit that is against you, some darkness that is threatening. But actually there is nothing. There are only 3 stones that are there in that corner. And by the time you come back from school, it is dark. So you are seeing like this. When the friend tells like that, how the fear about the false object of threat, that is the sarpam. The friend shows it is really not sarpam, it's only a rope lying there. And with that friend's words, and you yourself looking there with that light, you yourself will look. Merely the friend saying may not sufficiently remove your fear of that. But when the friend is showing the torch, you yourself take the torch and look at that. Yeah. Really, it is only a an arrangement of stones which I have falsely been afraid of all these years, all these days. Then the fear goes. In the similar way, the Acharya says, how the friend removed your fear of something or the other in your day-to-day living, and you yourself looked after the friend said, and really you laughed at yourself. Similarly, you should take the support of an Acharya who has crossed the Atma Anatma Veda and is abiding in the purity of the self. You have to approach him and he will tell you that what you have been afraid of, the world of differences, is in fact only the Brahma Swarupam. There is no Vedam in the Jnanam. The Vicharam will take you to the Abheda Sthiti, where there is absolutely no fear, says the Acharya, says the Guru. When Chadwick says, Bhagavan, when I am doing self-enquiry, sometimes I feel the consciousness freeing itself of the body. I can feel that. But then it is invariably attended with fear. Each time it is attended with some sort of fear. Bhagavan says that is only because your attachment to the previous support has not gone and your parichaya with the Niralamba Atman is not sure yet. There are 2 things. There is the previous attachment which is not completely severed. You are still seeing some serpent there. And the vision of the rope is not also complete. Your association or parichaya with the Atma Swarupa is also not complete. Therefore, the fear is there. The only way the fear can be overcome, the Acharya Bhagavan is saying, is by repeated parichaya with the Atma Swarupa. Repeatedly do Atma Vicharam. Then the fear of having to be free of the body and having to be identical with the self of all will stop being a fearful situation, will be the complete samadhana, will be the complete peace of the oneness with Bhagavan, with complete identity with the Brahma Swarupa. Absolute removal of all kinds of fear. That is what the Guru says. And with the Guru's Upadesham, with the instructions we read from talks, with the instructions we read from Guru Vachaka Koi, with the instructions we have from Bhagavan, when we practice Atma Vicharam, when we take that boat and travel Santatam continuously, then the Atma Swarupa, which is ever present, reveals itself. Reveals itself. The Desam, Kalam, Ishvara Anugraham, all these are only supports required. But really, that is where you are, in what time you are doing meditation, all these, and the Ishvara Anugraham, and that Ishvara has brought you to the sadhana, all these are supports, but the real support is Guru Upadesha, and the more real support of all this, Kalam, Desham, Ishvara Anugraham, Guru Upadesham, and your Prayatnam. Now, your Prayatnam takes complete precedence over all the previous things which out of Ishvara Anugraham have come and reached you. The Kalam is most appropriate. The Desham is most appropriate. You have come and you have seated yourself in a time which is most appropriate for self-enquiry. The Ishvara Anugraham is there. Without Ishvara Anugraham, we couldn't have come to Bhagavan's teachings. And Guru Upadesham is clear. What is Bhagavan saying? When other thoughts arise, don't pursue. That is the anatma. For whom is this thought? Immediately, the hidden ego, the observer, the seer, is available for enquiry. Only when you let go of the seen, only when you let go of the anatma, is the relative atma available for enquiry. Otherwise, the relative atma is always hiding itself. So when you let go of the relative anatma, for whom is this? For me, that who am I? It takes you back to the truth of the I, or you take the I to the source of the I. This is the whence am I or who am I? The two modes in which self-enquiry is practiced. This vicharam alone can take you to the truth, says Acharya. That this vicharam is the only boat. You already have all the requirements. The time, the place, the Ishvaranugraham, the Guru Anugraham, all are there. Now, Santatam, keep doing the practice that Guru Upadesham has given. Let us do that for the next 10 minutes. We will go into the qualities of the Sishya, which is what the coming verses are about. The Nitya Nitya Vivekam, the Iha Muttartha Palabhoga Viragam, the Samadhi Shataka Sampatti Mumukshutvam. All these four gunas the sadhaka is said to have, and how all the four gunas will be present when you do self-enquiry. And further, what the Acharya teaches, let us take up in the next satsang. Now let us practice what Bhagavan, the greatest blessing that any jiva could ever receive is to have Bhagavan and his teachings before them. And we are indeed those blessed ones. So let us sit and practice Atma Vicharam till 8 o'clock, when we can listen to Akka on the subject discussed. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Ujjwalji, you can set the time till
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self manifest as Ramana, we are meditating on Bhagavan's translation and condensation of the Vivekachoodamani. As it is the Vivekachoodamani, is the crest jewel of Viveka. And Bhagavan, as Muruganath Swami has said, has taken the essence of this essence. Vedagama jnana vennai unava udari uvandamai uttinane. So he is so munificent in his grace that he has churned the Vivekachoodamani. He has taken the essence of the Vivekachoodamani and given it to us. And such is his grace that he is allowing us to eat this clarified butter. He is giving this to us as food through the sharings which we are now having. We are able to eat this. We are able to chew on it. We are able to taste it. We are able to do mananam, and more than that, as Nandakumar ji says to us repeatedly, we are blessed with this boat that is taking us across the world of duality, that is helping us or supporting us constantly to remain turned to the self. This manana is bringing to us once again the fact that Atma Vichara is the Chudamani. That is the height of Viveka. That is the path to get back to self-awareness. And of course, here and there, we are also warned about not letting go of this great treasure, of not losing out on this great treasure, of not using a Kamadhenu to plow our field. Kamadhenu, this self-enquiry, which is a Kamadhenu, can of course give us whatever we want in this world. But it is for us to hold on to the highest truth. And Nandakumar ji repeatedly brings our attention to this fact that our solutions do not lie in the world of duality. There is no solution which lies in the world of duality. There is no answer to be found in the world of duality. Not even he has given us this time a very subtle example of trying to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. And even that is not required. We need not focus on discriminating between right and wrong, clarity and confusion, either out in the world or in ourselves. And the capacity to renounce each and every thought, or rather the determination to renounce each and every thought as it arises through self-enquiry, is in fact true renunciation. Because Bhagavan says, where is the world? The world is only in the mind. And there is Otherwise, no world at all, he says in Ulladhanarpadu. So the renunciation of the world has to happen in the mind. How? By renouncing thought. How does one renounce thought? By becoming alert to its rising, says Bhagavan, at the very moment of its rising, and to question for whom is this thought. If one does not do it at that moment, then it will proliferate. It will hold on to other associations. And by the time we are aware, we would have had hundreds of thoughts. Doesn't matter. Even if we have had hundreds of thoughts, the moment we realize that we have had hundreds of thoughts, we can still get back into this boat. This boat is such a gracious boat that it's available to us at every moment. We may keep jumping back into the ocean of duality, but the life vest is always given to us. Bhagavan's grace is always given to us, and somehow He keeps us tied to this boat. Though we may appear to be suffering in the world, He always keeps the lifeline alive. The lifeline of getting back to self-enquiry. That very grace has to give us the alertness also, and it does. But Bhagavan always says, the grace is there, you need to put in your effort, you need to do your bit. So, in that sense, we have to try and remain vigilant to the rise of duality in the form of thought. There is no thought that is actually necessary to function, says Bhagavan, because everything is automatic divine activity. Things are happening automatically. It is only that I associate myself with that action, with some emotion. When one starts doing self-enquiry, one recognizes, oh, who is this I who is acting? The body is acting, thoughts may be moving, but thoughts may be rising and setting. But how do I say they are my thoughts? How do I say they are my actions? Who is this I who is declaring all this? And Bhagavan says that I actually does not exist, but pretends to exist so long as the world of forms is given reality. So the answer is to repeatedly get back. This is as again very beautifully Nandakumar said, this is the right moment because we have already been blessed with awareness about self-enquiry. And Indina Dinave, Shubhadinavu, Indina Vara, Shubhavara, there is a Kannada song. So this is the moment. Muruganar Swami says, this now is the time, my Lord. This is the time. So whenever it is possible, at every moment that we can turn our attention back to the source through self-enquiry, let us do that. It's because we have been blessed with this great Kamadhenu, with this great boat of grace that is, as Muruganar Swami, as Satyamangalam Venkatramaya, Sadhu Swami, all of them declare that Bhagavan has vowed to take us to the shore of bliss. It is only for us to continue to remain seated in that boat of self-enquiry, just to stay put. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana, I wanted one request. I have a request of you.
Yes, sir.
Can you just recount for us that you're asking Muruganar as a guru, your Upadesham about practicing self-enquiry with Bhagavan as guru?
Yes,
Because
sir.
this particular segment is that we have been blessed with Bhagavan coming to us as guru. I thought we would like to
As
listen
guru,
again.
as guru. Okay, sir.
Yes,
Sure,
Sakar.
sure.
Sorry.
No. It's a great joy to share it whenever possible. Yes, I was at that time 13 years old and had been blessed with thanks to my parents being already devoted to Bhagavan even before I was born, and also associated with the Ramanacentre at Delhi. So I was exposed to several satsangs along with my sister, Ambika, younger sister, and my mother would also reiterate to us that self-knowledge is the only goal of human life. And with that background, I had got attracted to the pursuit of whatever I understood to be self-enquiry. And I was doing that, but a deep query had been evoked in me about the question of a living guru. So, within quotes, a living guru. Is there not a need to turn to a living guru and to get upadesha from a living guru in order to get self-knowledge? So, this was disturbing me, and my mother said we will go to Muruganar Swami. We would meet him in our visit to Tiruvannamalai in the summer vacation. And she said, you can put your question to him. And to me, I had already been given great faith in Muruganar Swami and Vishwanath Swami through another person in whom I had great faith. So he had told me that people like Muruganar Swami, Vishwanath Swami, they are Jivan Muktas, and being with them itself is a great blessing. So I had faith in Muruganar, and so we went. When we went to Muruganar Swami, we would sing some songs, and he would listen. With tears automatically would start pouring from his eyes, and his body also would actually melt when he was listening to these songs. And after that, my mother, she told him, Sharda, she said, this child, she wants to ask you something. So he said, let her go ahead. And in English, because my comfort was in English, being in Delhi in those days, I asked him. Rather, I told him, I have decided to take Bhagavan as my guru and practice self-enquiry. Is it enough? So with all the impudence of a child or a teenager, I put that question, and then Muruganar Swami went red in his face in that, like a sort of excitement, avesham, and he said, enough, enough, 100% enough, more than 100% enough. Then in Tamil he said, me, Bhagavan mele, முழு நம்பிக்கை வச்சு பண்ணிட்டே இரு. So after that meeting, Ganesh and Nanda, who had taken us to Muruganar Swami, he would usually take us to Muruganar Swami or Vishwanath Swami or Kunj Swami or any of the old devotees. So he said, you have got Upadesha from Muruganar Swami about Bhagavan. So Muruganar Swami gave the assurance more than 100% enough. He also said how he did not ask me what I am doing as self-enquiry, but he gave me these two great clues. Bhagavan mela mulu nambike vechu panninde iru. Put your full faith in Bhagavan and keep practicing. Keep practicing. Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana, very kind of you. You have requested on behalf of all of us, sir. We feel right with you in the feet of Muruganar Swamigal when he is saying. Thank you so much, Akka. Namo Ramana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana to all.